All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to our second merge tribal. For those of you who tuned in, we had all of our friends go back, and for that challenge, they were broken up into 3 groups of 4. Is that right? 12? Did I do the math right? Yes. 2 groups were immune, 1 group of 4 is not. And that 4 can vote, but they're the only ones that are up on the chopping blocks, and that group is Val, both Luke's and Declan. So very interesting, because we also don't know the dynamics. We don't know how people are, broken down when it comes to that, like who's working with who. Is that whole 4 working together? Are they part of someone else's alliance? Because also the votes last turnaround were like split like a 6-5, 1-1. Did I math right? 12. I think so. 5, 6. The votes were pretty close. So with not a lot of time to talk, this should make for a very interesting second merge tribal. I'm excited. I think we started out very fiery and I love it. So the drums are going. I think they're getting their torches. So let's tune in to our second tribal of our merge and see what happens. Thank you all for tuning in. Give some love to your loved ones who are still in the game. Give some love to your loved ones who aren't in the game anymore. They're gonna go back and watch this. I know I did. So give them some love and let's tune in.
All right, just a couple things before we get started. Again, the person voted out from this tribal council will not be a member of the jury. We're only voting for, and be clear that you're specific, if they come up, it's Luke M, Luke R, so that we're able to tell the difference, or Declan, or Val. Those are the only people that can be voted for. Everyone is voting at tribal council.
Or Australian. Yeah, we differentiate countries.
Any way you like, as long as we can tell the difference. So Paul, let's start with last tribal.
Me?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I thought I'd give you a minute in case you need to.
Thank you. I was going to reach into the fire. I don't think there's anything left in there.
What did we learn? I mean, it's always a lot of your name comes up, lights go on.
Yeah.
What's happening in the moment since then?
A lot of like deep cleansing breaths. It's so intense to be like, that's the thing you cannot capture through a camera, is how incredibly intense this moment feels. And that was the most intense version of that moment. Dan is such a cool dude, like such a great person. He will be buying me a beer when I come to Philly, 100%. But like, he's an awesome dude, and I understand why he played, why he had to play, but it was still like super emotional, super heavy. And yeah, I was ready to give a whole speech while I packed my bag up, and then didn't have to. So, but I'm feeling great to still be here. I like all of these people, and that's never going to change. And game on.
So Kayla, there's a majority, obviously, but there's a few stray names that were out there last time. Was there work being done trying to figure out where'd that come from? How do we bring those people on our side?
Yeah, there was a lot of FBI work going on trying to track down those stray votes. And I still don't have a straight answer. I think there's a lot of people that don't have straight answers on where those went. So I think it'll be really interesting as things go forward, if we do get closer and closer to a majority vote, or if we continue to have some.
You looked at me first. We'll go to you, Lugar. Obviously you never want to be in a spot where you're one of a few people that can be voted for. Do you think this group of 4 has anything different to think about with that twist in play here, or you think this vote was going to go the same way anyway?
I think that there were a lot of people up in the air for the previous vote, and coming back, sort of exchanging notes, some people saying who they voted for, some others kind of giving that information for themselves, continued to build like this air of distrust amongst everyone. So I can't really say if it would have been one of the 4 of us next. It's played out this way, and that's how it's going to go down. But there's no way I could have predicted it that this would happen.
Yeah, a lot of chatter going on. What's going on down that end?
Yeah, it seems like our discussion time wasn't long enough.
You want to share anything about what's the dynamic right now?
Well, it changes everything, just having 4 names up, and obviously everyone has connections to one of those people, so it's not an easy consensus vote for anyone. I mean, we all like all of them, so it's really a complicated vote.
Griffin, is there any clear subgroups that seem to be together all the time when you're doing the scrambling out there? Is this still very fluid?
I think that it's fluid in a good way. I've got the read that a lot of people are open to working cross alliances, which is makes you feel good.
KP, what's your read on the people that are left? There's obviously still a lot of chatter going on. Vote's still pretty much alive as we're talking right now?
It is alive, and you get a lot of sense of who's talking with who, that you felt confident in their vote, and now they're speaking a lot. So you have to wonder if you felt good and they didn't feel good, are you about to not feel good?
What about you, Val? What are you seeing going on right now?
I'm seeing a lot of last minute changes. I would like the opportunity to get pissed at some point. And I mean, I know I'm the reason we lost that, but I think people should be keeping in mind that I lost that. You have someone you could be in the future.
Nicole, interesting pitch, right? Saying, why take me out, right? I'm not a threat. I mean, it's time to start thinking that way as you move further in the game. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it's how we define threats right now. You can have your physical threats, your social threats, or your strategic threats. So it's kind of like, where do we see this vote going as our little voting blocks? And I think that's how all votes are going to be right now, is the voting blocks. You can tell by the chatter, it's undecided right now. So, yeah, I think it's really up in the air.
Do you agree with that, Luke? M? Is it a voting block-based vote right now?
You know, John, this is a game of highs and lows. And in the last hour and 45 minutes, I've experienced both of those things to a dramatic effect. So, to go from being the only person safe to one of 4 people that's going to go home tonight, it's a bit of a mood swing. So there's a lot of feelings bubbling around. There's a lot of uncertainty. I'm hoping I can trust who I believe I can trust. And if not, let the chips fall where they may.
What about you, Declan? Obviously, you'd rather not be part of that group of 4 right now.
Yeah.
But how you feeling with what's going on right here?
Horrible. My pitch to the group is of course to everyone here. I've so far done exactly what I've said I'm going to do in every round with each of you. I've never gone out of my way to lie. You know that my word is good. People who I did not work with on the last round, I didn't bullshit you. I didn't come to you and blow smoke up your ass. Just to put it bluntly, like Val has essentially could do one thing and done another thing. And if you are someone who considers yourself a threat, and Val's pitching herself as a non-threat to the future of your game, I think it's a disastrously early time to take out other threats. That's going to start threat roulette, and that's going to be you next. And I think the people who are big Survivor fans and who are threats know that, and know that you need other players. If that's the position I've been found myself in, fine. But you know you need to keep those in the game to keep the wheels spinning so it doesn't land on you.
So Ali, conceptually that makes sense, right? Like you don't want to just start eliminating threats, especially if you are one. But how do you define a threat, right? Is that somewhat subjective?
They have to tell you you're a threat. It's what people think. Some people are considered threats that aren't threats, and some people think they're threats and you're not threats. And there are some people who are threats who don't think they're threats. It's as subjective as it can get. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I like to let people think. If you think you're a threat, you're a threat. If you don't think you're a threat, you're not a threat.
So Leah, where are you at with this right now?
I thought coming into the game that the tribes of 5 were rough, but that was worlds easier than this is right now. I would much love to be on the tribe of 5 right now.
Hear that, Kyle?
Yeah, it's just, I think that it's a very fluid game, and it's also like a game of luck too, and it's really unsettling to be here right now. And I don't know, even though I'm immune, it's just like, it's still unsettling, and I feel horrible for the sport out there.
Yeah.
Anything else you need to talk about? All right, let's get to the vote. No more talking, please.
Okay, you know, I didn't think this was going to be as spicy of a tribal, but it is. Like, there was a lot of interesting conversations that were had there. You know, just to recap for those of you who still did not watch the last challenge, I'm not going to recap the challenge. Go back and watch it. But there's only 4 people that are able to be voted for. Both Lukes, Val, and Declan. And clearly Declan had some words for Val, because Val said she's not a threat. And Declan said, I've been true to my word. Val hasn't. So
this like introduces an interesting element of this game, which is like threats, non-threats. I mean, this is a point in the game where you start to weigh that, and you start to wonder and question, like, do I want to keep people around who I potentially see as not threats and I can beat later, or do I need to keep targets in front of me and start to try to decide, do I want to keep more people in front of me? So Declan's pitch was, hey, maybe I'm a little bit more of a threat. Some of you are threats. We should stick around. I don't see Val as a threat, you know? So like that's one argument, but this might be an opportunity for some people to get someone out that they view as a threat.
And clearly it looks like all those people are part of different alliances, because none of those people seem to have set, because there was so much whispering going on. We didn't have any whispering, I feel like, that much during our season.
I don't think once.
It was like,
I remember.
It came to the point where Paul just turned his back on John and was having a full-on conversation with the people. It was like Paul, Ned, Leah, Ollie, Griffin, all of them in that corner. Kaylee could not decide, and there was a lot of things going around. So yeah, Declan is talking like there are 2 main alliances and they're on the wrong side, so they're throwing Val under the bus in an effort to shift the target off of him.
Potentially, that could be the case. It was interesting to me that the 4 people that could be voted for were all sitting on one end. I mean, like, in case you don't know this, all they do whenever they come into tribal is they just line up however they want to line up, and then they just get to sit down. So,
because they could have continued to pitch during tribal.
Yeah, I might have spread myself out a little bit intermixed with people, because you could see the 4 of them constantly looking down to try to figure out what conversations were happening, and the other 8 were all constantly talking.
Yeah. So my biggest thing, based off of everything that happened with the discussions, is that my train of thought just went away. For once, I'm speechless.
This proves a point that like brain fog just happens for everybody in this game. If these players aren't feeling it right now, they're about to start feeling it, because they have had very little sleep, nearly no food, and so they're all going to start questioning where their train of thought is. You know, some of them, I'm not going to be surprised if we get to a point where someone goes, what was the question you asked?
Correct. And the brain fog as a volunteer is very real.
It's also very real, yes.
Oh, there it is. Both of the Lukes have been very strong candidates throughout this whole game. So the fact that they're both vulnerable, I don't think they ever thought that they would be seeing themselves in this position.
Yeah, they're big presences.
I think they definitely sat themselves in a pretty powerful position. So again, very interesting. You've got Declan and Val, and then the 2 Lukes. So they have a variety of strategic and threat levels across the board. All 4 of them. Val avoided tribal until merge. Declan was whittled down to a tribe of 2 and has bounced his way back into a majority, or at least an alliance. And then you got both Lukes who've just been physically and socially just at a top tier level of the game.
They came into this with groups of 4 that were still intact from original tribes. So.
Kevin says, I really wish I knew the vote split from last tribal. It was 1 Griffin, 1 Ollie,
and then 5
for Paul, and 6 for Dan.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe that question is you wish you knew who voted for who. We can't share that.
I don't even know that.
We can't share that information.
How they end up as the 4.
But that I think raises a good question, because you had 2 what we would call like stray votes.
Yeah.
So you had one person who voted for Ale.
No wonder the camera's shifting toward me. I'm like, why is this so close?
You had 2 votes. Just kidding. We just are keeping it interesting.
Oh God, there it is. We gotta twist it. Can you twist it?
Twist what?
This little knobby.
Here, I'm holding this.
Me.
I know, yeah.
Technical difficulties. I think. Okay, I need it over there, but this will be fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Oh God. My camera's trying to attack me. Take me out. What would I do without Phil? So, how they were divided
This is the second time I came to your rescue.
Thank you. They picked, I'll give a brief synopsis for those of you who are tuning in. They picked color bandanas, and that's how they were divided into the 3 tribes of 4 to participate in the last challenge. 2 of the groups of 4 were immune. The last group was not.
Yeah, we have been voting. We still have a few left.
Okay.
What I was starting to say a minute ago
Before I almost died.
Before we, had camera issues, was you did have 2 stray votes from the last tribal. 1 vote for Ale, 1 vote for Griffin. We don't know if those were intentional.
Right.
We don't know if that was, something that someone was purposely trying to do, or if it was someone who just didn't know what was going on. But you have a 6 and a 5 that did vote together.
Yeah.
Meaning that somebody was not in that, and are they going to get pulled in now moving forward? Will there be a majority that comes out of this with 12 people? We could see a 4-4-4 split between votes. We could see 2 groups of 6. I don't know if you have a prediction of how many people you think are going to come up in this, or if there is a consensus with only 4 names.
And once again, he announced that this person will not be making jury, so that also adds another layer of, of emotions, because again, this group doesn't know, when does jury start?
Well, he did say that this next person will not be on the jury. And Andy, to your point, you said potentially backup votes in case of an idol.
That's
Yeah,
very true.
that's
I mean,
very
Ollie
likely
played.
that could happen. Ollie did play an idol.
Ollie had an idol
Or
played.
an idol
Idol
played
played
for
for
him,
him. So, but we're not sure.
We don't know who did that.
If they were worried, but so someone thought Ollie was in trouble.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very true. That person could have been not in the know, or they could have been throwing a vote just to make sure that in case multiple advantages came out, that somebody else went up.
Yeah, I'm curious. So we'll see. I don't think there'll be as many fireworks as last tribal, but there's always a possibility for advantages.
4th of July was a few days ago, but we might see it again.
We might. Who knows? Let's see where we're at right now. Oh wow.
Okay, so we still have about
Seems like the voting's
5 or
a bit
6 people
slower
left. So yeah, people they're taking a little bit longer,
than
which
last time.
maybe implies there's deliberation going on that's maybe causing people to question which way they should be voting right now.
Yeah.
It did seem like a lot of people were really up in the air in that scramble when they were talking here at Tribal, with the amount of confused faces and are we doing that way, are we switching, that kind of stuff. So
And I think this is a perfect opportunity. When you get divided like this, unlike last time where it was really kind of anyone's was immune except for Luke, this is a good vote for you to think long term, not next vote. Like how last time I mentioned, sometimes you're thinking next challenge, next tribal, then long term. This is a long term vote, I think, in my opinion.
And something that I always weigh in this game too is a question I ask myself is, a way I can put it is, what are the odds? So, meaning odd numbers. We're at 12 right now. When you get to 11, that's an easy majority of 6. When you get to 9, you have a majority of 5. So odd numbers are really powerful in this game, and that's when moves tend to happen. So here, I don't know what's going to happen while we have 12, but I think it's going to be the next one that could be really interesting, where a majority of 6 could come and emerge.
Yeah, and we know John has been loving these little twists and switch ups, because at least for our season, Phil, we did get divided into
2 groups of 5.
2 groups of 5, with one group being, you were part of the group that was not safe. I was part of the group that was
I was
safe.
immune. We were together.
We were together? Oh,
yeah, we
right.
were. He crushed that challenge.
We crushed that challenge. We were on a challenge. We crushed it. We were safe, and it was 5 and 5. Then there was an opportunity for us to divide ourselves by picking out a colored rock and thinking where we could win immunity. And then there was 3 different groups.
Yeah, that was a wild challenge, and we'll see if one of those comes up.
So
But
So-
it is strange. As what Taylor was just saying, we had a. Oh, why did something come up? Whenever we had we did a similar challenge like this at Final 10, where we got put into 2 groups of 5. So you think like, okay, 5 and 5, 50% are immune, like that's decent. But here you have 8 out of 12 that are immune. For math majors out there, that's 66% are safe. I was a math major for 1 semester.
The players know that they won't be on jury. Like, John has made it very clear the past 2 challenges, the person being voted out is not on jury.
Yes.
Do we know that they're
We don't
idols
know
out?
if
I
that's-
don't know. I'm not at camp looking around for those things. There's way too many ticks out there. I did my time last year. But who knows? I mean, clearly there was something out there because a hidden idol was played last year.
And John does ask at every tribal if anyone has an advantage or an idol and they want to play it. So it leads us to believe there has to be something. that is out
Not
there.
ticks. Listen, the ticks are there.
But
And like you said, these players do not have a lot of time to talk and deliberate. So they down to the last couple. Yeah. All right, but continue. If you have any questions,
drop them in here.
Drop them in here. If not, shout out.
We see you, Scott.
Shout out your
Ruben,
loved ones.
Katie.
Yeah, shout out your loved ones. Did we ever find out what advantage Dan got? No, we did not. We don't know what advantages were given or awarded. Yeah, that is still unknown.
Maybe we'll see another advantage thrown in the fire. That was high drama. And here at Survival Challenge, we love drama. Or maybe not everybody. I love drama.
I love drama. I don't like drama. Or like the double vote. This one, plating aisle.
We had to do a double vote.
Is anyone giving up idle finding energy? Who's your
who's your random pick to go
on a run?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's hard when we've only had one individual challenge so far. And this one was like a team sort of immunity. I think it's going to be in the next few that we're going to figure out where somebody's strengths lie. But I think one of the things too is Survival Challenge does a great job of diversifying challenges where you might have somebody who has great balance, but then the next one might have to do with puzzle strength, and
Or
the next one
swimming.
endurance or swimming. Yeah, like
They love throwing it at you. Me in the sand pit, I have not spoken since last year. And will not speak.
It's true. Yeah, sand pits are her kryptonite.
Thank you, Scott. We appreciate you tuning in. Continue to share. We know as the week goes on and the days go on, as more people get voted out, people lose interest. But this is where things get spicy. So continue to share. Get more people to come in and root for your loved ones. We're going to be here all day. We've got today and then tomorrow we crown a new winner.
Yeah, we had a big day yesterday. We went from 25 down to 13. I think it was a record for the most people voted out in one day.
Okay.
So,
Not to cut you off, but I think we're going to go back to tribal. They're tallying the votes.
everyone has an advantage or immediate idol and you want to play it, now's the time.
John. There's a lot of variables in this game, and I'm gonna hopefully, I haven't even seen what this is yet, but I found this morning.
You don't know that was
I'm in. I'm all in on playing this. I don't know what it is even yet. I found it this morning on the tribe flag. I did too many variables, too much uncertainty for me to not at least give it a shot.
Let's see.
Hidden immunity idol. This is a hidden immunity idol. It can be used at any tribal council at which at least 5 contestants remain in the game. Presented after the votes are cast and but before they are read. All votes cast against yourself or the player you choose to play this idol for do not count. Okay, well at least one calculation was right there.
This is an immunity idol. And will not count. I'll read the votes. Declan. Val. Declan. Val. 2 votes Declan, 2 votes Val. Declan. Val. Declan. Val. 4 votes Declan, 4 votes Val. Declan. Val. Declan. Val.
Yeah. Wow.
So on a revote, Declan, Val, you will not vote. Everyone else will revote. You only can vote for Declan or Val. I'll send this back. We'll get to it.
Do we have a moment or no? No.
I'll give you a moment while I'm taking this back.
You don't get a lot. Sorry, I have to do this time. What he has to say about this, 'cause I'm sure that man has something.
Oh, I'm sure.
Have it, yeah.
All right. Let's keep talking until they can't talk anymore. This is crazy. We're gonna keep it on chatting until we go back. We'll go back. Yeah. What a crazy thing. Oh, I'm zooming in too quick, too far. Look.
No, you're safe. I just.
You guys have 60 seconds, okay?
Can we no,
I'll go
another time.
I have to clarify. Yeah, keep it the same, I'll go.
Yeah, keep it the same. Keep it the same.
Take the risk.
If there's another tie, then you come to a unanimous discussion period.
if you don't
And if
allow-
there's not a unanimous decision after.
Who is you?
So there's a revote now. Who goes to rocks?
I'm going to rock.
Just the 2 voted for?
Hold on.
No.
Hold on. In the event of a deadlock tie, Val and Declan become immune. Luke M is also immune. Luke R would be the default vote. That's still among those.
Yeah.
How much time?
You guys have 30 seconds.
It was not me, and I will tell you everything.
It's a little different, Kevin. Because we would have good ones here. Because Luke R would be the default vote. It would be so rude.
10 seconds. Discussion stops in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No more talking, no more talking, no more talking, no more talking.
No talking.
Okay. Okay, I'm grabbing Isaiah and we're gonna go back here. Okay, let's recap what just happened. Okay, this merge is spicy. So it was Luke stepping up to play an idol, Val saying it's not you. He plays it for himself, wastes the idol because the votes are tied between Declan and Val. A tie vote. So what you just saw was the deliberation of trying to figure out. It seems like these people were willing to go to rocks until they found out Luke R would be the default vote out.
He would be the only one able to proceed.
He would be Sareed. He would get Sareed.
He would get Sareed, basically.
He would get Sareed. So
now, I think with the last little second before they were told not to talk anymore, was that I think I heard KP say, Luke, if you don't switch your vote, it's you. Like, she's like, if you don't change it and you keep it the same, you're going.
And we don't know what everyone voted for. But it's interesting. There was none of the Lukes were considered.
Nope.
It was.
Which, again, I personally, if I were in this game, those are the people I would vote for right now.
They're the ones. I mean, clearly people are falling on their sword for both of these players, which shows how great of a game they're playing to the point where these people are willing to tie and go to. But they, in this situation, if this was a normal, they would go to rocks. But because it's such a weird dynamic, someone's gonna get Sareed out maybe. So only Val and Declan can't vote either.
So my wonder is as well is that if Luke, because honestly, Luke R, right? He should switch.
KP was so right. She's saving Declan if it happens.
If it happens, right?
Yeah, Luke R can vote.
Luke R can vote. So then Luke switching his vote, right? You know, because then that technically would mean that Luke R would be fine. If no one else switches their vote, it would take one person, maybe KP, who's clearly Declan's ally, trying to save Declan, switches her vote so it ties again.
Yeah.
Because if there is a tie,
unless someone's trying to send out Luke, someone could take that opportunity if they know everyone else is staying and they want to make a move. This would be the opportunity to make a move if you want to get. And then you'd be like, hey, remember that vote where we revoted and everyone said they were going to stick to it and it was really putting it in Luke's hands? I switched and sent Luke out. Like, crazy. I mean, KP, I've clocked her since like day 2. She is locked in. That girl is focused. She knows how to play the game, and her threat level has not been clocked. She is a huge threat.
Not afraid to speak up. She's
No.
not afraid to
Not at all.
sit and speak her mind.
And no one's clocked her. We've seen votes for Kaylee. We've seen votes for Val.
I think right now, KP and Leah are playing the best covert games because both of them are strategic and socially out there, and they are not clocked for anything.
No talking. You lose your vote if you are talking as a reminder. This is not the vote I would want to lose my vote at.
Thank you, Bobby, season 10. But it shows that these people are stressed. These 2 merge votes have been insane.
I truly don't know what's about to happen right now.
I mean, clearly people are torn, and it seems like people are willing to. I mean, the thing is though, at this point, because there's no rocks, people don't feel as stressed about not changing their vote technically.
And I just realized when KP told Luke, Luke R being like, if you don't change your vote, you're going home. It's basically because I'm guessing Luke R voted for Declan.
I'm assuming.
So
I think
because KP's trying to save Declan, being like, change it to Val.
Yeah.
And you stay. And keep my ally here.
Yeah. Well, who knows? This is still tribal 2, and we have how many more votes, Jake? This isn't with how this merge is going.
It would be crazy if at 12 at final
we went to rocks.
We had rocks. This is true. It would be 9 people or 8 people.
Yeah, but we still got plenty of game to play.
Especially with this group, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, like this next tribal is after this. If it's back to a normal tribal, could be interesting. Or maybe it could not. Maybe there's somebody in the lines that they're waiting to take out, and they haven't had a chance to.
It's crazy too that we're doing all of this for a pre-juror.
Yeah.
This person is not going on the jury.
But what a way to go out though. Yeah. Like, yes, it's sad you don't get to go out and be on jury, but this is an iconic vote out.
Same thing with dance, iconic vote out.
This is too small of a pool for this line. I don't know. This is very interesting. I'm gagged a little bit.
Yeah, these 2 tribals have bad. Dropped.
I mean, it's. But like I said, we are for those of you tuning in, it was a tie. And they are deciding between Val and Declan, two very different players, mind you.
3 or 4 players.
Val and Declan, also two very different players, coming from two very different sides of the Survivor spectrum. So it really depends on who wants to go forward with who, because Declan, it did seem like Declan had a little bit of a thought that it was going to be between him and Val. Them and Val, because they did try to throw Val a little bit under the bus there. So
I will say I do understand and respect Declan's point of, like, you know, like,
I'm a threat, keep a threat in.
Yeah, threat roulette, blah blah blah,
But Val
whatever.
also put up a good point of, like, you can beat me in challenges. Use me as a vote.
Absolutely. And I think they both make both cases are 100% correct, because we've seen both of those kinds of games and those strategies play out in different ways. So I think
there's too many threats left in the game, though.
that part,
I think there's too many big threats, and I think some of the smaller, not smaller, but players who play under the radar, the covert under the radar players, are feeling a little nervous.
Yeah, but what I'm hoping is at some point, because it would be fun to see, that those powerhouse, like targeting other threats, they go after each other. So that was whatever that small group of covert players are, can be like, have fun and get each other out, you know.
I thought so. If Dan hadn't gone out at the last tribal, it would have been a Dan and Paul showdown. However, that wasn't the case. So Declan and Luke aren't. Yeah. So if anyone doubts and two people swap, it will be Luke that goes.
We literally just need an even swap. Either no one changes anything, which again I think Luke is going to, or an even number swap.
And it can happen. People get nervous when they get up there, especially if they're like thinking, okay, let me be the one to swap because I don't think someone else is going to, or let me swap to cause chaos, and then someone else on the other side is like, let me swap just to make sure, and then you're dead even.
It's literally so unsure. Right now it's all by chance of who switches and who doesn't.
And it's all because they don't have enough communication. If they had more communication, be like, you swap, I don't. And I had something similar happen when Melissa and I were at tribal, one of our first tribals together, and originally the vote was going to be MT, and then we didn't realize Melissa and I both swapped, and unfortunately that made Heather, love you girl, go. But if Melissa and I both talked and only one of us had swapped, then it still would have been MT that went, and Heather would still stayed in the game, but Melissa and I never had a chance to talk to each other, and we both swapped to try to save the other. So covert players, we don't have enough time to answer this question, but we will come back to it.
Because I like that question, Julie.
I do like that question.
I love you.
Tally the votes. Declan. Val. Declan. Val. Declan. Val, 3 votes each. Declan. Val. Declan. Val.
Oh my goodness, that's insane.
So we are still tied. I'm going to give you a short amount of time. If you can come to consensus on vote between Declan and Val, that will be the vote out. If you cannot, Declan, Val become a... If you cannot come to consensus, Declan and Val become immune. Luke is already immune, Luke M, because of playing the idol, which would mean Luke R would be eliminated if you cannot come to consensus.
So it's Val or Australian Luke?
I mean, what
Because we're not
do you
sure.
say?
It's not going to be
It's
unanimous
gotta
on
be
me.
unanimous.
Unanimous by all of us?
Yes.
Yeah, so hold on. Let's pause right here.
We don't have much
The
time.
people who need to be, how much time, I don't give a shit. The
much
people
time
who
do we
need to
have?
be unanimous are the 9 of us, correct? Or,
People who
yes,
voted.
okay.
So including
So,
Luke R.
who do you want it to be, Val or Lugar?
Val. I'm sorry.
No.
So you guys say Val?
Val.
Val. Obviously you say Val, right?
Yep.
Please don't switch.
Val.
Please don't switch.
No, I'm not switching.
Okay, then it's Australian Luke.
That's your
That's okay? I would prefer not.
I'm gonna stay loyal. I'm not switching.
Okay, Australian Luke's going home.
Australian's gonna go
Sorry,
home.
Luke. That's all right, guys. I'm sorry, Luke.
Well, we know who's really
That's all good.
No consensus?
No consensus.
Luke, by virtue of that, subscribers vote.
I switch.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, so good game, Luke. Yeah, very good game. Guys, thank you for the game. Thank you for making it what it was, and looking forward to watching on and seeing what happens. So, best of luck, guys.
All right, we're gonna hold here and.
Okay. I need Sam here to let me know. Sam, is this a SC first?
For someone to be like advantage getting out of the game. I
So
mean, not really
Sareed.
advantage
Sareed.
getting. Yeah.
They were
I mean,
Sareed.
Hardly, because like there was one advantage played, right?
Yeah.
It just was an unfortunate kind of like twist
Yeah.
situation where that happened. But that is, just gutting. You could tell like every single person said, no, I want Luke in this game.
And
except Ollie.
Yeah.
He was the only one that like made that choice. Sorry, I'm like.
No, you're good.
So really, really crazy that like he single-handedly decided that Val was staying, so she owes him big time. And also
everyone seemed
pissed.
pissed.
Leah sobbing. Like, it was crazy.
How do you maneuver past that when you have now a tribe of 10 that are going to be gunning for you?
I think that there's a really good chance now that Ollie might have just put a target on his back as a maybe not super amicable person. But we're going to cut this stream because we're getting everybody walking by until we figure out what's happening next, because something seems to be happening.
Yeah, so if you didn't tune in, please go back and watch this tribal. Both tribals, extra spicy. We are off to the races. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you shortly.